Hey, morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Um, I'll just give it a moment, 1 second. Hi, Ash. Right, I think let's get started. The timer is not stopping for us. So good morning, everyone. I think you've heard a lot of about regulation, policy, and so on. So maybe this was a very intentional design by the organizers to put in the product and tech talk in there. So it's going to be of a very different nature than what you've been hearing earlier. I'm the chief data scientist at Flipkart, and what I wanted to do was take this opportunity to talk about, there's been a lot of hype. Everybody's talking about it. Your kids are probably doing homework using Chat, GPT, Bard, what you may have. But when you get down to industry and actually try to make it work, we have some early experiences that I wanted to share with you. Also, give you a little bit of perspective about where this technology is evolving from. Obviously, what are its opportunities or advantages? But at the same time, maybe sound a word of caution saying that, hey, not all the problems in the world have been solved. So, with that, I think you know the story. ChatGPT was one of the fastest consumer internet product. It reached 1 million in 5 days. That's it, right? You look at the Google Trends, ChatGPT, Bard, generative AI. Everyone's talking about it. And it's not just media. It's not just people talking. If you look at McKinsey, they estimate that the economic output, or rather the addition that generative AI can do, is anywhere to the tune of 6.1 to 7.9 trillion. That's trillion with a T, right? So clearly, there's a lot going for it. Everybody's talking about it. A lot of people are optimistic. At the same time, clearly there are concerns as well. Regulatory concerns, we've seen a lot of that. Is there going to be a lot of job losses? I think there are concerns raised about, are we getting closer to the doomsday, the singularity in AI that everybody is worried about, right? And some other concerns in terms of ownership of content, how do you monetize it, and so on and so forth, right? So I think you heard a lot about this, but I wanted to go a little bit under the hood, tell you what this technology is about, and talk about our experiences using this technology into real products that we can put it out there for our consumers. So first of all, I want to give you a perspective that this did not come out of nothing. This technology has been a culmination, I shouldn't say culmination, I'm sure it'll keep going, of many, many years of hard work and research that has gone into AI. It started with neural networks, which have been around for many years. When I was an undergrad, I was learning about neural networks. Of course, back then, we were talking about neural networks that are 80 nodes, 100 parameters, and things like that sort. They were used to solve only some toy problems. Come 2009, 2010, we kind of took those neural networks and put them on steroids. In fact, that's an understatement, right? From that 80 number, we went to literally 150 billion nodes, 100 and many, almost trillion parameters is what people talk about these days. And as you might know, that's one of the reasons why we are seeing this AI revolution for the last decade, decade and a half. These deep learning networks, as they are called, or deep neural networks, they are good at many things. The typical cognitive tasks like understanding images, understanding speech, translation, so on and so forth. Another thing happened around 2018, which is the transformers. And I think Rahul also talked about it earlier, right? Which is a new structure within deep learning or deep neural networks that allowed these networks to understand language, natural language, a little bit better. And that paper came from Google. It was called Attention is All You Need. Fast forward another 3-4 years, and these transformers again put them on steroids, train them with the whole World Wide Web and a lot more data. And of course, there's some more innovation that I'm not going to get into the details. And you have these large language models or ChatGPT, Bard, and so on and so forth. And lo and behold, everybody's like, wow, this can do everything. But let me caution you, it's there in the name itself. They are large language models. In other sense, they are trained to do one specific thing, predict the next word or the next token given the context. Let's not forget that. It's of course surprising that given this ability on which they were trained, they're actually able to do a lot more than that. And I think clearly some more research needs to go into this and build certain theoretical foundations which are sorely missing in this particular field. I think Rahul also talked about it in the previous session, that these are ultimately next word prediction on steroids, right? But what that means is that, and like, I cannot emphasize this more, there's absolutely no guarantee that these models can actually apply logic, do reasoning, or even that they can answer your questions accurately given the world knowledge. There is no guarantee. And in fact, we have seen many instances where they give wrong answers, and in the industry, this problem is known as hallucination. So be mindful of that. Let's also worry about the shortcomings of this technology. Another point that I wanted to make through this talk is that, this is actually a quote that really summarizes well what I feel as a practitioner, somebody who's trying to use this technology into products, right? This is actually Andres Karapathy, who was one of the authors of ChatGPT from OpenAI. Here's a technology which you can, use to come up with those good proof of concepts, those early 2, 3 examples that work really well, and that's fantastic. But to take it from there to actually a product that you can put it out for your consumers, give guarantees about it, make ROI, or extract business value out of it, is very difficult. And that's something that we have been noticing. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. So be mindful of that as well. Okay, I'm not trying to be a pessimist about this technology, far from that. I'm actually an optimist, and I'm very excited to use this technology. But I just wanted to sound that word of caution that, it's not a hallelujah moment. It's not like the whole problems have been solved. So now let's look at the more positive side. What is that being used for in industry, right? We talked about that 6.1 to 7.9 trillion opportunity. What are the early learnings in the industry? So there are about 2 or 3 themes, right? One, the first theme is to assist humans. So there is a human in the loop. Mind you, the idea is to assist humans. If you're a researcher who's been tasked to look at the internet, come up with some data, and create a report on a slide deck about it, this can be a fantastic tool for you. But you need to verify what it is telling you, double check it, right? Similarly, whether you're writing code, you're a software developer, this tool can actually help you write code. It can write you small functions or even a little bit more than that. But you need to be in the loop. You need to verify that it is doing the right thing for you. And so on and so forth, right? If you give it a long document, it can summarize it for you, but you need to kind of double check it. So that's point number 1, where it's a good productivity booster, and that's what industry is primarily using it for. A second theme is to take it a little bit ahead and say that for tasks that are less critical and where maybe in 1% of the cases I can actually escalate it to a human agent, can I automate some of my processes? Processes where I do consumer connects, like your customer support, right? Can I put a virtual assistant out there? Or content moderation, like in the case of e-commerce, when a seller uploads their images, it needs to go through several steps of content moderation, and we use this technology to do something like that. So that's another area, namely, which is to take that assistance, but actually productize it so that most of your inbound requests are taken care by a virtual assistant. If it's unable to solve it, we'll escalate it to a human agent. And the final thing, which is not really a theme, but I'm saying that, look, beyond these themes like this, people are also being very creative and using it for several things. Like there was a recipe generator from the startup Blinkit, and Khan Academy has been using it to assist with studies and so on. So let me quickly tell you what my company, Flipkart, is doing in this area, right? There are a host of applications. I'll quickly walk you through them. First one that you see on the left is a multimodal search. What we are doing there is, look, today if you look at e-commerce search, you type in a query, you get back a result. And maybe I like this jacket, but I want it in a slightly different color. How do I express that query? It's very hard today. I go back and I say jacket with gray color or something of that sort. Of course, that's a more easy example. When you look at Indian fashion, there's a lot more patterns and subtleties to it, right? So what we are allowing you there is say, okay, I like this product, but you know what? I want to tell you through images, through text, how can I modify it, or what am I looking for additionally to something like this? Maybe a different style, maybe a different color, maybe a different pattern, and we'll show you another product if it fits that bill. We are building this assistant here, which is an end-to-end assistant. And of course, it's a very ambitious one, which is like, can I take that your entire e-commerce journey where I can answer questions that you might have about, tell me what products are good for me? Or if you like a particular product, can I go and ask you questions about specifics of that product in terms of, what is it good for? What is it not good for, right? Things like that. Or what is your return policy, and so on and so forth. So many things like that. And finally, we also have several co-pilot kind of use cases where we are giving this tool to our developers to write code and other things. So those are some of the areas, and then there's content generation, like generating rich product images, rich product descriptions. We've had some early successes with this, and we are very excited to take this technology out to our customers. Now, let me just talk briefly about some of the key challenges, right? Some of them I mentioned earlier. Look, this technology is not foolproof. It hallucinates. So you need to use this framework that is well known in industry called retrieval augmented grounding. So you ground it to say that, hey, look, answer this from this particular document or piece of text that I'm giving you, not from your knowledge of the world. And that helps you give more authentic answers, or rather more factually correct answers. So that's an alternative to that, but the point is, out of the box, this technology needs to be double-checked at times, and there are several studies which show that. 2, this technology is expensive. Not just your commercially available APIs to these large language models, they are of course expensive, but so is the hardware that is required to run them, the GPUs and so on. And not only are they expensive, but they are in short supply. So to get ROI out of this, particularly in a market like India, is tough, and you need to be creative and smart about how do you make use of it. And finally, of course, there's the talent scarcity, saying that, hey, look, great, but you need to upskill your employees, and at the same time, you need to upskill your data scientists and your AI folks. So I'll leave you with some of the key lessons that we have learned, or other strategies, right? We are saying, fantastic technology, use it, go to market faster with the help of these commercially available APIs like ChatGPT, Palm, and so on. But you know what? Don't get too married to one idea. There are many ideas out there. Try them out, iterate, fail fast, and so on and so forth, right? Build customized models. They can be a lot better at times. They might be faster, cheaper, and more accurate for the specific task that you are looking at. And try to secure the compute resources that you need to play with this technology. With that, I'll stop here. Thank you very much.